You're listening to a special presentation from Night of the Living podcast, Zoned Out, the Twilight Zone Revisited with Joe and Freddy. Howdy, Joe.
Hi, Freddy.
We were just talking about video games before we started because we're having second
we're
childhood.
old.
But this week we're going to be talking about the episode "The Silence." Originally aired the 28th of April, 1961. First of two episodes directed by Boris Sagal. He does The Arrival too later on. He's best known for directing. Have you seen The Omega Man, the one with Charlton Heston?
No.
It's a fun movie. Recommend it.
I really should.
And it's like a Twilight Zone reunion because it was written by Richard Matheson. It's based on I Am Legend. But he also did The Name of the Game. Here's kind of a weird thing. Well, first, the nice thing about him, a little bit of trivia. He's the patriarch of the Seagal family that includes Katie Seagal, Peg Bundy, the Doublemint twins. And there was a couple of sons in there too.
But not Steven.
No, not Stephen. Totally, I think it's a totally different family. He spells his with an E, I think too. Thankfully, not part of this family. He was. This is the horrible serious part. You know Vic Morrow, right? Who died in the making of the Twilight Zone movie. And they both worked on Combat together, the show. And or the movie.
Wait, is that Combat with an exclamation point?
Yeah. Well, that was a series, right?
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but he and Vic Morrow both worked on that. But they both died by being struck by helicopter blades.
What?
Isn't that crazy? Like what happened with Vic Morrow's documented like crazy because of the case that came out of it and all the fallout. But this one was he was just exiting a helicopter. Instead of going towards the nose, he went towards the tail and walked into the rear rotor blade.
Oh my God.
Isn't that horrible? Yeah, it's so horrible. But I felt like I had to mention it.
Note to self, whenever leaving a helicopter, follow their directions exactly.
Yes, take your time. It happens more often than you would think, apparently. Going into the rear rotors, and I guess that's why some of them have those protectors around them too. They were filming a movie called World War III when that happened. I've never seen it. I don't know if it was finished or not. I didn't look that far into it, but I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Combat was a TV show on ABC 62 to 67.
Okay. So this is before this episode. He made this long before they were working on Combat together. This episode, and then we teased this last week, was written by Rod Serling, who later said, "Oh, I plagiarized that by accident."
Not bad.
It was an Anton Chekhov short story called The Bet, and apparently the story is, well, not the story of the bet, but the story of the plagiarism is that Rod Serling had read that story years and years earlier, forgotten he had read it, and it kind of bubbled up in his subconscious, and he wrote this teleplay. And later realized that he had lifted it from the Chekhov story without knowing it.
Would that be like still subject to copyright or anything? I mean, it was
Chekhov
looks
stuff.
like it was written in 1889.
Yeah, it's public domain. I think everything Chekhov did is in the public domain. I'm pretty sure.
It would be now for sure, but yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like your family can like renew it. Like your estate 50 years or something. I can't remember what it was. There's some sort of law about how many times you can. Your state, I think, can renew IP. I don't know enough
Disney
to know.
Beefed that up the wazoo to preserve all their stuff, but
it didn't work. Remember, because the Steamboat Willie's in the public domain.
Oh, well, I mean, I think they took it from like 50 to 75 or something like that.
Right. Yeah, they definitely increased it. Yeah, but what I mean is like they're still losing things to the public domain.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Which is, to me, I don't ever really understood what the reasoning behind that was. If your heirs, why not let your heirs inherit it all the way down the line, you know? But
money, it's all money.
Yeah. But it is nice that things go into the public domain and become part of just the open culture too.
Yeah.
I benefit from that.
How else are you going to get Winnie the Pooh blood and honey?
Maybe it's not a good thing.
I've never watched that. I should watch it and be like, oh, maybe I take that statement back.
I was at Horror Hound. They did a panel with the cast and crew of the Terrifier films, and the guy who plays Art the Clown, and it was like, I got, thanks to the lapse in the copyright on Steamboat Willie, he got to play Mickey Mouse in a costume in a horror movie I think it's Screamboat might be the movie he's in.
Screamboat Willie. Yeah. I've seen. I think I've
Kind of interesting.
Not seen the movie, but seen of it.
He's a pretty good performer, like physically performer, you know. So it might be worth it. I don't know. This episode has a cast of 27, but they're mostly just background people. It's really just 7 main leads or main players. Colonel Archie Taylor. He's just a humorless, misanthropic, aging club member. This is Francho Tone. I don't know if he pronounces his name Franchit Tony or Francho Tone or Francho Tone. But I found a couple of different ways people were saying it, so I still don't know. He was in the Cornell Dramatic Club. He's the president there. And he left, his family were actors and stuff too, but he left, his family weren't actors. He left his family business to become an actor and went to Broadway, and he was in The Age of Innocence and The Wiser Sex and in film too. So his career kind of picked up.
He looks like one of the old guys from Trading Places.
Yes, he does.
Like one of the Winthorpes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know which one you're talking about. Not the slender, taller one, the other one.
Yeah, Mortimer Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Christmas movie. He's responsible, Francho Tone, responsible for the establishment of the Best Supporting Actor and Actress category at the Academy Awards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was in a movie called Mutiny on the Bounty, and I guess he was so good in the supporting role, like, we need a category for this, and now we have that category. He was married to Joan Crawford for 4 years, 35 to 39. All the club sequences in this episode, they filmed first, and later, I don't know the full story. I've read a few different versions of it doing research on this, but he was either hitting on somebody's girlfriends or being gross. I don't know what exactly he was doing, but he got badly beaten, and they tried to cover it up by saying he fell. But the reason that all the scenes that are not in the club, you only see, I think it's the right side of his face, because the left side is so badly injured, it's scraped up and swollen.
Whoa!
And it changes the whole vibe of the. I mean, like, I'm not glad the guy got hurt or anything, but it is interesting how they managed to turn it into like some really intense scenes later on.
That's wild.
Yeah. Then we got the character Jamie Tennyson, who's the young, talkative, maybe too talkative member of the club. It's Liam Sullivan, who's going to come back in the Changing of the Guard later on in the series. He was in regional theater, but he was also at Harvard in the drama department, and then went to Broadway and TV. He's best known. He was in the episode of the original Star Trek series called Plato's Stepchildren, where he plays one of those characters that either thinks he's from Earth's past or he's emulating, and he dresses kind of like like our ancient Roman in it. I can't remember the whole story, but I remember him. And that's probably besides, all the work, like the culture people are like, oh, he was big on Broadway. To me, he's always going to be the Star Trek guy. That's what I remember him from.
That's where we make connections. He's got a very Greco-Roman face.
Yeah. He's a real handsome guy too. Franklin, the club attendant, we had mentioned this. I don't know if we mentioned this while we were recording or not, or before we got into it.
No, before we were recording.
This is Cyril Delavanti, who we saw in A Penny for Your Thoughts as the old man who Dick York thought was going to rob the bank. He's going to come back in A Piano for the House, or in the House, A Piano in the House, and Passage on the Lady Anne. So he's got 4 appearances altogether. One of the other club members, the only reason I mentioned this actor, Everett Glass, is because he's in 2 of my favorite movies, The Thing from Another World and The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the originals of those.
Ooh.
So he's got some cred. And he's just kind of there in this episode, but I had to mention him. George Alfred, who is the friend to Colonel Taylor, the grumpy old guy, and his lawyer too. That's Jonathan Harris is back from 22, where he played kind of the weird doctor. Was flirting with his patient.
What world?
Yeah, and Dr. Smith. We talk a lot more about Jonathan Harris in the episode 22, so check that out if you're curious. And of course, whenever money's involved, I like to see what it's worth today. The 500K bet is worth $5.5 million today.
Ooh.
So pretty good. Pretty good.
That's some nice money.
Yeah. You want to get into the story, Joe?
I want to get into the story. I do. Let's get in it.
Let's
put it on.
All right.
Try it out. See what this is. He says as he pulls up his notes. So we open on what appears to be an old-fashioned gentleman's club, and I don't mean that kind of gentleman's club. I mean, well, that probably happened there too. But, you know, the kind where everybody's got, it's oak everywhere. Everybody's got smoking jackets on, that sort of business, and a bunch of dudes.
On the commentary of the Blu-ray, there's an interesting part where they're talking about, they're like, well, this had already started to die out at this point. That kind of club, but it was such a great way to tell a story that Twilight Zone kind of uses it several times, and they extend the idea of that club at all into years that maybe people would have just forgotten.
For people who read comic books, there's Mike Mignola's Hellboy and BPRD series. Those have characters who kind of come from that time. It's kind of this old explorers adventurer stuff where there's lots of intrigue and mystery. I just kind of like that vibe.
Me too. I love it. I like places. It's handled. Peter Straub does it in Ghost Story, which is a great novel, and then also Stephen King does it in The Breathing Method, and they use that same setup. I love the idea of just the club where people are drinking brandy and sitting around fires and telling stories. It's fun. It's just phenomenal. Or making bets to go around the world in 80 days or whatever it is.
Yeah. I don't want it to be like an old dudes club. I just want it to be a club where everybody gets to hang out and tell cool stories, and it's all cozy.
We should bring it back, Joe. We'll start one.
We totally should. We should call it the story den or something like
story
that.
Den.
I don't know. Set them across country. Okay, so old-fashioned gentleman's club, and a man called Tennyson is talking just nonstop. He's just rambling and rambling and rambling, and it's like he's not even taking a pause to breathe. He's one of those people who can just blah, 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 blah. And it's an inane story of him talking about how put upon he was by this guy who wanted him to invest some money or wanted some money or something. And other members of the club are like clearly exhausted with his talking like this, because you can see the other actors it's great. They do little subtle things. Like one guy, he comes up and he sits on the chair next to this guy, and this guy like rolls his eyes and turns away from him. But all kinds of little subtle things to make it clear like this dude is annoying. He's always like this, and he's annoying. At one point, he was talking to a group of 4 guys, and as one guy walked away, he grabbed his arm, like kind of gently as if he was being escorted, and just held the guy's arm as he's telling the story. I'm like, that is the weirdest gesture of like, don't leave. I'm walking with you. You're listening to my story. So he keeps going. And then we get as he's continuing to ramble on, we see Taylor, this older guy, in a chair off to the side. And it's clear he's focusing on the intensity of it all. We start getting close-ups of like Tennyson's mouth and Taylor's ears, and the idea he like wiggles his ears at one point, and you can see like just the back and forth where he's just getting sick of it. And this when Alfred, Taylor's old friend and lawyer, comes in and explains I came as soon as I got your message, and Taylor's like shh, and he shushes him so he can keep listening to Tennyson be absolutely boorish. And so Tennyson rambles on, and then it clips back to Taylor and Alfred, and he goes, "The only thing worse than his talking so much as his transparency. In about 30 seconds, Alfred, he will not very nonchalantly ask for a loan from anybody within earshot. As a matter of fact, just last week he asked me for the loan of $250,000. And Alfred goes, "The letter you sent me is the most incredible thing I've ever read. Archie, we're old friends, but I must tell you that..." And Taylor goes, "My communication to you, Alfred, was not as an old friend, but as my lawyer. Is the wager I have in mind legal?" Alfred goes, No wager is legal in this state." "Well, is it against the law then? Anything criminal in it?" "I don't see anything criminal in it, no." "Alfred, that's just what I wanted to hear from you." And he rings a bell, which, man, that's demeaning. And the servant Franklin comes over, and he says, "Franklin, I want you to bring this note over to Tennyson." "Right away, sir."
So Sweet old Franklin.
What's that?
Poor sweet old Franklin.
For Franklin. Oh, Franklin. He brings it over there. He's got this great shock of hair too, which is just awesome. When I get old, I want to have a haircut like that. I want that haircut now, but
I wake up that way sometimes and it's real big like that.
Yeah. So Franklin is about to bring the note over and we get the voiceover. The note that this man is carrying across the club room is in the form of a proposed wager, but it's a kind of wager that comes without precedent. It stands alone in the annals of bet-making as the strangest game of chance ever offered by one man to another. In just a moment, we'll see the terms of the wager and what young Mr. Tennyson does about it. And in the process, we'll witness all parties spin a wheel of chance in a very bizarre casino called the Twilight Zone.
It is a bizarre casino.
A bizarre casino. I like that.
Can you imagine if the bet was just, could he swallow a goldfish, like a live goldfish?
Could you cram yourself and 35 friends into a phone booth?
Cinnamon challenge.
Okay, small digression. We haven't done one of these recently. I was remembering all the weird ass stuff that my brother's friends did, like just because they had weird friends in some cases. I remember one of them snorted red pepper powder.
Damn.
And he at first couldn't breathe for like a good 30 to 60 seconds and was starting to freak out because he could have died. But I guess my brother got him a bunch of water and he drank it and that was enough to get so he could actually breathe again. But it's that's freaking crazy, dude.
People teenagers think they're invulnerable.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's true now still, I think. I think maybe a little less now than when we were growing up. I feel like as a teenager, you didn't really see a lot of people face the consequences because people weren't online all the time. You didn't see the fallout from stupid shit.
Right. You just heard about somebody who died or you didn't hear about it because it was such a dumb way to die
that the family wouldn't let anybody know what happened. He snorted condiments.
Right.
Yeah.
Or there's a lot of shame with some of that stuff too, not to bring it dark, but I remember hearing about from a friend of a family friend of someone they knew that died of autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah.
Where they strangle themselves to get off.
That's how John Carradine died.
What's that?
That's how John Carradine died.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
They said they were really kind of embarrassed by it, but they wanted to share the story that it happened because people don't talk about it, and it's actually really dangerous.
Yeah,
so.
And if you're gonna do it, have a spotter, I guess. I don't know what the solution is exactly, but I know that I don't want to shame anybody if that's what you need to get where you're going. But at the same time, damn man, be careful out there. Y'all. Yeah,
just be don't do it. I mean, have a partner or find a way to, like you said. There's interesting services that you can do with I'm really digressing now, but there's
I want to see where this is going.
What's that?
You said there's these services, and I said I want to see where this is going.
Sorry, this is a slightly different thing. There's This American Life is awesome about, there's a service where if you're going to shoot up with heroin or something, you call them and they walk you through the process of how to stay safe. Mm-hmm. They're not trying to encourage you or discourage you. They just walk you through just so that there's somebody on the line so that if you don't answer, they can send emergency police.
They were building centers, and I think they still do, where people could go safely use heroin.
Yeah, I know overseas, in Amsterdam or something, but I don't know if they do that here or not.
There's some here. Yeah, okay. I mean, people were it's very controversial.
Yeah.
Obviously, but also it saves lives. There's no question.
Right. So, anyway, just be safe, y'all, if you're doing your thing. So we come back to the moment where Franklin brings over the note. Back from our digression. And Tennyson tells him, just put it down somewhere, Franklin. It's this old dude. I just feel bad for Franklin. Every time I see somebody like that who's older in that kind of role.
Oh, like that Walmart greeters and stuff?
Yeah.
too in our current time.
Or just like anybody who's, serving somebody else, which it's just, I mean, it's it's a noble thing. It's just, I feel like people so easily disrespect folks like that. And it's like, no, like this person's a human being who's got dignity, and
who knows why they're working a job like that? Like, you never really know the whole story of why that person's there. They probably might not have another option,
Right.
And they got to survive. So like,
exactly.
People shitting on that are some of the worst people.
Yeah, exactly. So Franklin explains that Colonel Taylor's instructions were to have Tennyson read it immediately. And so Tennyson kind of, huffs, turns around, looks at Colonel Taylor, and then proceeds to open it up and read it. And basically what comes out, and this is done over a long kind of stretch of dialogue between the two of them, is that Taylor bets Tennyson that he can't be silent for a year, bets him $500,000, which, as we said, is worth $5.3 million in modern dollars, that he can't remain silent for a year. And if he accepts the wager, he'll be put into a small glass-walled apartment in the club's game room, where he'll be monitored by microphones so he can't speak without detection, and that can be observed anytime. And it's like a little Truman Story-esque. And that he'll only write notes to communicate, and other members can observe him through the glass anytime. And so Tennyson's like, this is absurd, kind of protests a little bit, but it makes it makes it clear that, he's hard up for money. He's actually, he's kind of pushed the line where he needs the money, and his reputation isn't great there. And so Tennyson pushes back a little bit and is like, hey, well, if I were to do this, I want you to put a check on deposit in my name, right? Which is reasonable ask. And Taylor pushes back and is like, humph, I've got a strong standing of honor and credit that is well established. The other members of this club would back me up. And they're all like, yeah, we're humph.
Squirtingly.
Yeah. So it's a great line. Tennyson's words, he goes, my courage against your credit. And they both accept the challenge, and it begins the following night. So they go to a commercial break, and when they come back, the scene actually before the commercial break, there it shows the workers putting the little glass place together. Come back from commercial break, and the scene is already like 9 weeks in, and Tennyson is apparently holding strong. He's dressed in like a smoking jacket, or he's all like wound up here,
cravat.
Yeah. And Franklin is serving him his meals, and Taylor comes, asks, and he's like, "Oh, he's doing well?" And Franklin says, "Well, he wasn't eating well for the first, until about a week ago." Which and he said, "But now we're 9 weeks in on the day," and so that's a little bit of a Easter egg if you watch it again. That he's about first 8 weeks he was not eating well, but now he was, and Taylor, it's clear he expected Tennyson to crack within a few weeks, but he's surprised him, and it shows kind of not a whole lot of montage, but some where he's kind of ticking the days off and this and that, and pretty soon it's already 9 months in, and Taylor comes in and he's clearly getting stressed, and Alfred comes in at another time, his lawyer, and is like, "I really hope you've got the money." He's trying to talk him out of it for a lot of the time. And Taylor never says anything, but he's just like, "How dare you?" Like in these insinuations. And so Taylor sees it again 9 months in. He comes in and he's like, "Look, you've clearly proven yourself. Let's just call this off." He goes, "I'll give you $1,000." And Tennyson's like, the bet stands. 3 months to go, and Alfred or Taylor is like, "Well, your wife hasn't been around lately, I've noticed, and I've seen her in the company of some other young men." And what I didn't mention is that earlier, after he accepted the bet, he was talking to Alfred was like, you don't really have to do this. And he's like, look, my wife really loves expensive shit. And he's like, she shops at Tiffany's like other people shop at the grocery store. So, he says she is delicate and something and fragile and something. And he's like, many words that talk about how weak she is. And then yet that she's demanding of all this fancy jewelry and all this. Anyway, just a weird dysfunctional relationship. I have to imagine. But he's like, but unfortunately, I'm terribly in love with her, which is always the line. So we know that Tennyson really needs the money. And so Taylor is trying to accelerate the money. He's like, well, how about, 5,000, you can give this business up and you can come back and attend to your wife and this and that. She, I know you've written to have her come visit you, but she hasn't come by. So maybe you should, pay attention to that. And, Tennyson's not giving in. He's just like, I'm going to stay. He's clearly struggling with that. And he almost like lunges at him, but he's like, he just keeps it going. And then he comes in another time and talks about, Taylor comes in another time and talks about how he saw Tennyson's wife get into a sports car with a young man.
Yeah.
And like,
all these times he's taunting him too is because of that facial injury on the left side of his face.
He does only show half of a part of his face during that.
Yeah, he kind of puts his face next to the glass.
Yeah,
and he speaks out of the side of his mouth, and it makes it like. I'm not the first one to notice this, but other people have mentioned like it makes it so much more sinister.
Yeah, or like he's two-faced or something. Like it's really interesting.
Worked out in their favor.
What's that?
I said him being hurt worked out in their favor.
Right, exactly. Artistic license that they didn't know they had. So he's refusing, and you can clearly see that Taylor's like trying to egg him on. He gets up to $6,000 he's going to give him. He's like, no, he's not giving up. So on the last evening of that year, Alfred confronts Taylor, and he's like, your behavior has been atrocious, using his wife as a threat. You've really fallen in the eyes of the rest of the club. Just it's atrocious and uncalled for. And Taylor's kind of just like playing it off. He's like, well, I've still got like 2 minutes, and they count it down, and finally the clock chimes, dong, dong, and Tennyson emerges from the room, and everybody applauds him, the whole crowd, which had been making fun of him before, but now he's clearly shown that he can take it. And he walks over very grandly to Taylor, and as you said, they're showing them both from the Taylor's right hand side, so you're only seeing that side of his face, and he reaches his hand out and puts his hand out like for the check. And I love that moment. And what we find out is Taylor says, I don't have the money. He's like, he had a fortune, but he lost it several years earlier. He clearly, humbly, at this time, because he's got nailed on it, is like, I've clearly, you're the better man. I will resign from the club. I shouldn't be here anymore. You've proven your strength and your resolve, your courage. And Tennyson is like startled, and then like frustrated, and like grabs him by the collar and stressed, and he pulls out a pad of paper, and people are like, why didn't he just say something? He can talk now. You can talk now. They're all like, hey, you can talk now. And Taylor writes down a message and hands it to Tennyson writes down a message and hands it to Taylor, and it says, I knew I would not be able to keep my part of the bargain. So a year ago, I had the nerves to my vocal cords severed.
Dun, dun, dun. And he removes the cravat.
Pulls the scarf away, and he's got a scar on his throat, and he's crying.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's kind of, you're really rooting for the guy. by the end of it too. And you're like, fuck me.
Yeah.
What an ending.
What an ending. And of course, we get the voiceover. Mr. Jamie Tennyson, who almost won a bet, but who discovered somewhat belatedly that gambling can be a most unproductive pursuit, even with loaded dice, marked cards, or as in his case, some severed vocal cords. Somewhere beyond him, a wheel was turned, and his number came up black 13. If you don't believe it, ask the croupier, the very special one who handles roulette in the Twilight Zone.
Croupier.
Did I get that right?
Yeah. Pretty
Croupier.
sure.
One that looks like croupier.
Croupier.
Ask the croupier. I don't know.
A weird job title.
Yeah. So, So then that's the end of it. It's just like, oh, sucks to be you.
This is one of the episodes that sticks in my memory more than a lot of them. Like, I felt like starting, I'm like, oh, I just saw this. I could have been years ago. It's kind of like, I feel like you said something similar about last week's, right?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of stuck with you. Or were you talking about, you, this one.
I was talking about Death's Head Revisited.
Death's Head, that's right. Death's Head.
Yeah,
talking about.
had the star from the other one, but yeah.
Yeah. This one sticks with me. The tragic ending really is a kick in the teeth, you know?
Yeah.
But
it's just that he knew he wouldn't be able to do it, and so it's like, dude,
yeah.
Damn.
It's what would you do? You know, like it's completely life-changing money.
Yeah.
You know, like, so there is like a real honest temptation to do anything for it.
Almost to the point where you'd be like, could they fix it if they...
Oh, yeah. If he got enough money, he could get it reversed.
But who knows? But,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He plays the tear down his face is great. Like at the end with Tennyson. Oh, it's a good one. It's a real good one. What are we doing next week? I can't remember.
Shadow Play.
Shadow Play. Okay.
I don't know that one.
I can't remember off the top of my head either.
But I like these stories of like where it's kind of got that sadness of the gift of the Magi or one of those where it's like the pride of two men gets the better of both of them, you know?
Yeah. Makes me want to read the Chekhov story kind of like and be like, how similar are they?
Yeah. Yeah. To look at well, of course it's tragedy, right?
Yeah. And the ironic endings, you know?
And then it makes me think about like the money of it and go, okay, so how much money would I actually want? You know, I've always had this idea in my head when I was younger that I came up with a number one day and I was like $10 million.
Yeah.
I think that's what Jim Carrey like wrote himself a check for at one point or something. And I was like, I want to have, if I had $10 million, I don't need any more money and this and that. And I was like, I've been revisiting this lately. Like, okay, I don't think I'm ever going to get $10 million, but like, how much money do I need to like be happy? And like need versus happy versus, you know, all the like reevaluating my life. I'm almost 50 and I'm like, how, and there's some realization to figure out like, I'm pretty damn happy as it is. You know what I mean?
Well, there's always this argument and a study behind it, but I don't know how accurate it is that the last time I read it, they said 40K per individual was the key number where it just coincided with well-being kind of markers, you know?
Sure.
So they would say that people who made less, this is an old study, made less than 40K a year were unhappy, and people who made more, you know, significantly more were unhappy, and that people in that sweet zone were the people who were most functional psychologically and everything.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I read something because I had heard at one point it was $7,400 or $74,000 or something like that. But then I read another thing later that was like, yeah, that was all bunk. The more money you have, the less worries you have. So you have the capacity to live better.
Yeah.
I imagine it's something it's really about what's your number and like what's really going to add to your life, you know?
Yeah. Because you need, like the argument was in the old study was that people inherently need challenges in their lives, and that there's a certain amount of challenges that once they're gone that you begin to shut down kind of, I guess, because you're not having to overcome anything anymore. But I don't believe it either. I think that's just like, if I had, there's so many of my worries are tied into money, because we don't, if you listen to the show, you probably know we don't make a lot of money. We're kind of like a paycheck to paycheck kind of house, and the podcast does, fill in a little bit of the gaps. But like, I would love to have just fucking $10 million sitting in a bank somewhere. I don't even have to spend it to be happy, but to know it's there, to be like, know that like, if some major medical crisis happened or something, that you have money, really.
Well, just the stress of it, the stress of like being able to say, okay, I can get food and I don't have to worry about, it's not to flaunt it. It's just to be able to say, I'm not worried about, having enough money to make it through the day or through the week or, even through the year, whatever.
I'd like to be able to go on vacation again, like once a year. Everything has gotten like, it is insane. Inflation, the affordability thing that everyone's talking about right now, it's real. It's a fucked up situation. Things are really expensive. And I don't know at the time, hopefully this is slightly recorded in advance, but I don't think it's going to be any different. When you hear this, maybe things turn around. We'll see.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
Yeah.
We want to bet.
But it's like it's times like this, and this is so cliche, but like it's times like this you really realize what is important to you, and this time of year too, where it's something special, and even things that you can feel like it's not always like your 100% favorite thing, but it's still something that gives you life, gives you meaning and purpose and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is cheesy, but like, I got to tell you that this podcast is something for me like that.
Same.
It's a powerful thing and sometimes I'm like cramming to do my notes the night before or something, but then I get here and we're talking and I'm just like, oh yeah,
it's worth it. Yeah. It's worth the time and effort to really look at these things. And you and I share this love of the show. I think it's pretty deep. But I think our friendship has gotten deeper because of doing this together is really great too.
Yeah, on.
Getting through these winter months, it's tough on a lot of people. I'm one of those people that seasonal affect, I have that, and I try to keep really bright lights on in the wintertime and everything. Yeah, but having this is a great escape.
It's great. I love it, and I love the audience of people. And if you're somebody who just listens all the time and you like it, awesome. This is something we do between the two of us for fun, but like but it has some meaning before it. And if it means something to you, awesome. We care about putting out a good product for y'all, and
share it with your friends, please. If you think anybody who'd be interested in this show, I don't think we actually say that very much, but like, share this stuff. And again, this feed is also Night of the Living podcast. So that, maybe warn them that you're getting a little everything in there. One of these days, maybe
mixed
we'll have
bag, but
yeah.
But it's inherently, it is all with good intent and with love and
yes, absolutely
joy.
Thank you, Joe. I think that's
Thank
wonderful.
You, Freddy.
Thank you for the sentiment and the companionship and the good conversation.
And thanks everybody for listening. We really appreciate it every time, every day. Y'all are great.
100.